All right, it is 4:30, and welcome to all those that are joining us today. I'd ask that you please rise and join me for a moment of silence, and then we'll follow that with the reciting of... Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, can we start with the roll call, please?
G. Hamel.
Here.
Sean Brewster.
Here.
Brad Hint.
Here.
Tom Eggers.
Here.
Wayne Barahona.
Here.
All right, moving on then to the agenda review. For approval for that, please.
I move we approve the agenda.
Support.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Eggers.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Barahona.
Aye.
Brewster.
Aye. All right, moving now into the public forum section of our meeting today. And again, this is for items that are not on the agenda further down. If you have comments, just like to read a short greeting here. Good afternoon. As we begin this meeting of the City Council, I would like to thank and welcome all those that are in attendance and also those who are viewing the meeting on your computer or mobile device. We welcome your comments and opinions and ask that your participation reflect the common desire we all share to make Sheldon an even greater place for all citizens. Thank you for joining us. At this time, we ask that you turn off or silence your cell phones. If you think you've turned them off already, please have an opportunity to address the City Council under the public forum portion of this meeting, which we are now in. When addressing the Council, please wait to be recognized by myself and then step to the podium. State your name and address for the record, any single member. Questions will be taken under advisement, and there will be no back and forth discussion. You are asked to limit your remarks to no more your comments. Please be seated. I ask that everyone please observe, and I know that you will, the commonly accepted rules of courtesy, decorum, dignity, and good taste. So at this time, are there any public comments? Seeing none, we will move on then to the consent agenda. And we need an approval for that. A motion.
Support.
Any discussion of any of the items?
Well, I'd discuss item E if Micah wasn't sitting right next to me, so I guess I'm good.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Hint.
Aye.
Barahona.
Aye.
Brewster.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Eggers.
Aye.
All right, then moving on to our old business. We have Tom Henriksen with us today from Winther and Stave, the accounting firm from Spencer, and he is going to do a presentation for us on the 2018-19 audit.
Afternoon. I apologize right off the bat. This has taken way too long. We started this field work in September, and I was moving right along until about October, in November, when my hands quit working, and it got progressively worse and progressively worse, and I could not use a calculator. I couldn't write. Yeah, it was bad, and so I ended up having some neck surgery, and they're coming along, but it's going to be slow. And I was out for almost all of January, and unfortunately, I didn't delegate the work off like I should have, but but I kept thinking I'd get better and I could get her done. And so it's still not done. I do have the draft. I've been through the draft several times. I don't think this is going to change. What the problem was is some of the procedures I did, and I didn't document them like I was supposed to, and some procedures I just kind of forgot about. So I've got some cleanup items to do before I can give it to a partner for review, because I've been in this business 39 years, and if I would have given the report to Jeff to review, it was substandard. So as far as the general work is done, but the numbers are great, and so hopefully everybody's had a chance at least to glance through it. Any questions right off the bat on that? And like I say, I apologize for the delay. We will be presenting the full audit on March 4th.
Yes, sir.
March 4th, and at that time we'll send it off to the state auditor and the federal clearinghouse, because it was a single audit this year because it's 16th Street and the airport project. The total expenditures were over $750,000 of federal funds. So we did have to do a single audit. That kind of slowed me down some too. There's extra work on that. I mean, really, the city had a pretty good year, I thought. There is a little change in the report from prior years. We audited we're going to audit the primary government of the city of Sheldon, which excludes certain component units that I've always considered to be immaterial. And I think individually they are immaterial. I'd suppose there's 4 501c3s that do fundraising things and spend money for fire, library, SCAT, and the museum, and they decide where they're going to spend the money, and they spend it on legitimate purposes for their what's the word I'm talking about? For the library, there's nothing funny about what they're doing, but they like to decide where they're going to spend their money. But collectively, the cash in those funds amount to about $254,000, and receipts are probably about $81,000, and disbursements about $89,000. So I really think those are pretty small, immaterial amounts, but the question has come up, so we just decided to not audit those and audit the primary government only. Have any questions on that?
This is ones you haven't taken a look at in the past, is that?
I knew they were there, but no, I've never looked at them.
It's probably a good thing to do.
Because I always consider them immaterial to
Sure.
the financial statements as a whole.
If I might.
Yes.
So, Tom, what you did receive though this year was describe
They
what
were the groups were cooperative with me, and they sent me their list of their disbursements, the list of their receipts, their cash balances, so that I could so the people at least know that collectively that's what's out there. But no, I didn't see anything but again, I did not audit them, but I didn't see anything that was looked out of the ordinary. I mean, they're spending on what they're supposed to be spending it on.
Okay.
And it's not city monies. I mean, this is private donations and fundraising receipts. And I understand these groups want to keep that money and decide with their board where they want to spend that money because they're the ones that earned it. So, I understand it is, you're supposed to put those numbers in the financial statements if you're gonna audit them. And I do not want to do that. And I don't think anybody really wants me to do that. So, but the rules were set up for primarily to try to get the university foundations, which are huge, that the universities didn't report. And unfortunately, it's trickled down to PTAs and chess clubs.
Sure.
So,
Gotcha.
but I at least identified that they're out there. Real quick on the cash, went down $8,314,000, which it's basically bond monies from received previously. They got spent down this year. So at the end of the year, the city in total had about $12 million in the bank versus about $20 million in the bank a year ago. But like I say, that $20 million, most of it was spent on the wastewater treatment plant.
Right.
That also includes, the roughly $2.3 million in TIF.
Was paid down. General fund increased $116,000. General fund, I always like to look at that as $1,136,000. That's a good solid amount. There's still $2 million in TIF. The others, and the capital projects has $2,234,000, which I'm sure has been kind of earmarked for various projects. Water, they've got $822,000 in their fund. The sewer went down $7,556,000 due to purchases of fixed assets, which is the wastewater treatment plant. $7,743,000. So the beginning, all those bond proceeds were taken out in June of 2018, so they were just sitting and getting ready to be spent. So now we're spending
Well,
them.
Sam has another comment or question.
Tom, I just want to mention that you'd given me the audit late yesterday. I posted it to the internet this morning. I have sent out the link to the council members, and I've posted it on Facebook. But I didn't print, because it's 60 pages long. I didn't print copies for all the council members today, and it's not uploaded in the
Oh, it is
packets.
not. Okay.
So,
Well,
so
no.
if we could, I was.
Oh,
planning-
absolutely. Call me if you have any questions in the next 2 weeks. Otherwise, I'll come back and have it. Okay, I kind of thought maybe you would.
Yeah, so I have provided it to them, but it's not in front
Okay.
of them right now. And so if I
So
might-
yeah, you obviously don't have any questions because you haven't looked at it.
So if I might, I just want to make a comment. And I've known you for a long time, and I know you've been through a difficult situation. I just want to say that we ended up, that an audit is an important tool in the toolbox for putting a budget together, and the agreement that we have with Winter and Stave contemplates the budget or the audit being completed and delivered typically the first or second week of December. And so the budget is finished, and we didn't have the audit in time to help us with putting the budget together. And I'm not sure how this is all going to play out with our contract with Winter and Stave, but it's really important for me that we not have a situation again where we have the audit coming in after the first of the year, because this put us in an awkward position. And while I really appreciate your letter explaining that there wasn't anything that the city did, to cause this, the reality is that we need we paid for an audit that really should have been delivered prior to the first of the year, and that's not on you. You were sick. I mean, if I was out for 3 months, I would hope that someone would help pick it up so that it wasn't left for me in a big pile on my desk when I came back, and that put us in a difficult situation, and we've had a long-standing relationship with your firm. So I'm not upset with you. I am just frustrated with the situation, and so
I am
please
too,
accept
obviously.
that in the vein that it's intended. But Tom, this is not a good situation.
No, it's not a good situation.
And this isn't the first year, Sam. I believe last year he was also behind, late, if I remember right.
I remember last time it was
It was your first
December.
meeting.
It was my very
Yeah.
first meeting, which was December
I think it was
5,
2
and
years ago.
that's
2 years ago?
and that's
Yeah.
a standard. I'm okay with that, but having it after the budget's already been developed is not something we can have happen again.
I understand.
I would really like to see us look at the contract, and I'm very disappointed in how Stinther and Stave has handled this audit. I understand Tom's been out, but I think their company should have stepped up and had somebody else take charge, or at least help you out, Tom, because you were put in an awkward spot. You can't control that, but I think your company let you down. So I really think we need to look hard at breaking this relationship.
Well, we need to, you don't want to break it before I deliver the report.
After this report and audit.
And that's your prerogative. I mean, I understand the frustrations, and it's probably as much on me as anything. I take very much pride in my clients, and I a lot of times maybe don't want to push it off out to somebody else, and in this case, I think I just underestimated how bad the situation was. So you know, it's not necessarily the rest of the firm's fault. It's partly due to me
Yeah.
being stubborn and.
But I think they could have helped you.
Or anything else you want to share with us at this point, Tom?
No, I think that's pretty much the kind of where you're at, summarized. I mean, look it over. Call me with questions. We'll be back and
Okay.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, we'll see you in a month, and I hope you're...
well, done in a month. 2 weeks.
March.
Well, that's right. We are. That's right. Okay. We'll see you 2 weeks hence, and hope your recuperation continues to go well.
Well, hopefully I go to the surgeon on Friday, and hopefully this fusion is going good, so I can get rid of this. I'm not supposed to drive, you know, so maybe she'll release me to drive.
Great. All right. Thank you. All right, then let's move on to our item 4B, the resolution establishing the Sheldon Fire Department Depreciation Fund, which we've talked about previously. Yes, please.
Thank you, Mayor. To the resolution, we've added a few things. If you look on the last page of it where it talks about how the funds will be spent, we've added some detail there. The rest of the resolution is essentially the same. Brad and I would like to take a moment and talk about Floyd Township. There's been a little bit of a change there in the final proposal. Here's a quick summary of the negotiations. November 26th, the city proposed a new agreement with 60.75 cents versus the 20 cents we have now. So it's roughly roughly a tripling of the levy is what we'd asked for, corresponding to the recommendation of the State Fire Chiefs Association. January 8th, there was a township meeting in Premgar that I attended, and it was me and Mike Holstein were the two, Mike representing Floyd. Floyd countered to do a double rather than a triple, to go from $81.25 to $16,250. I then asked for $5,000 in equipment, looking at their cash balance. This works out to be 161% increase, roughly. They tentatively agreed. We dialed in Brad, and he agreed to that. Mike said he would take it to the full board. The full board then agreed to the doubling, but not to the additional $5,000. They desired a 100% increase. So Brad and I met with them on the 14th, and then yesterday we received word that they are back to supporting the doubling as they were before, but they're asking for a $3,500 increase for equipment instead of $5,000, and the $3,500 matches what we're doing for Grant Township and Sioux County. So Brad and I are okay with that. It's a difference of $1,500, but our goal next year is in the negotiation at that time will be to continue to seek to bring it to the state recommended standard. Any questions on that? So we just asked for approval of the resolution, and then noting that the $5,000 in Floyd is to be changed to $3,500.
Okay. If there are no questions, I will entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
Last chance for questions or comments. Roll call, please.
Eggers.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Farahona.
Aye.
Brewster.
Aye.
All right, moving on, then we have up for discussion the properties for the Sunset Motel and the 1023 Garfield properties. Sam, what do you have for us on that?
Thank you, Mayor. In front of you is a draft of the Garfield contract, and the message that Micah had sent to Katie Morgan, legal counsel for the Stillers, and the agreement is being considered for Garfield, and once that agreement has been worked through, then we're ready to get into the harder agreement, which is the sunset. Not a lot harder, but there's some additional details that need to be worked out. So, Kerwin, if you feel comfortable in saying anything on it today, I don't think we're quite ready to set it for hearing until we have a.
I know there was one thing that Kerwin Sterler on 10D. That one jumps out to Katie. And on that one, it's saying that I'm not going to get title till after clear title or closing, till after I put a house and sidewalk on there. Is that correct? There's no way I'm putting a house and a sidewalk in if I don't have clear title already. Now, she called it out. I don't know.
I'll address it with her.
Yeah, and she had some other things too, and I just got off the phone with her before the meeting here. So There'll be some other things we'll call, but that was one that jumped out, and I wanted to make sure we.
And we're negotiable on the sidewalk too, Kerwin, because there's about 4 panels that are broken up.
There's gonna get
the rest
more
of
broke.
it's fine.
There
So-
will be more broken before this is all done, so, and at that point, it'd probably be a whole new sidewalk. That's the least of our worries.
Yep,
so.
I agree.
So, other than that, yeah, we'll go over there's some question marks there that, she said she'd get a hold of Micah.
I'll wait for her call then. Thank you.
So Mike, if I might, Mayor.
Yeah.
So my understanding is your recommendation that we wait until March 4 to set the hearing, or can we set the hearing on a contract that's not quite a bit, as long as it's signed prior to the
I would
meeting?
like to proceed the way we did with the other properties, which is have the buyers in agreement with all the terms of the contract before we set it for hearing. Because once we set it for hearing, you're also going to be adopting a resolution that says the contract's available for inspection, et cetera. So we kind of get the cart ahead of the horse if we set the hearing before we've got all those I's dotted and T's crossed.
I think the council needs to understand what the agreement looks like before we move ahead with hearing. So,
Kerwin, do you have another comment?
Yeah, I just want to say that time is of the essence here. So I got contractors that want to get it done in March. So that means we got to stay on a decent track here, because otherwise the tilers, all these excavators are going to be busy.
Okay.
So I'm asking to keep it on the fast track, and I'm going to do my part to keep it there. So I would say by the end of March, all the property will be demoed and done. So it's just a matter of it'll be cleanup, filling in the basement, such things as that, and
Well,
tree work.
I would make a note that I think there's a special session potentially scheduled for later this week, or did I misread that on the internet?
Well, the Saturday session is designed to be a closed session for chief of police.
But since there is a meeting, if Ms. Morgan's able to get back to me, we get these things ironed out, you can add to the agenda at that time to set the hearing for the March 4 meeting. That's a possibility.
It's a good idea.
We'd like to
So,
keep on pace there, so.
I guess if Ms. Morgan can give me a call, then we can keep moving forward.
And then I can
'Cause-
just repost the agenda as long as it's 24 hours in advance.
My goal would be to, by the end of March, the properties will be wiped clean and the tree work will be done. Because it's farming time and I have things to do, so. So, and then at that point, we will still coordinate all the other parts of this puzzle and keep things going. So we have a basement to dig over there and so forth, so contractors and stuff for that, so.
So am I hearing that if you get this worked out, the contract details, we will be doing a special session on Saturday?
You already have one tentatively scheduled. We would just
Well, I
add
mean,
an
a
item to
special-
the agenda.
Yeah.
Yes.
But,
And it'd be a
that
very-
would be open meeting, and that would be an open session rather than a
Yeah,
closed, correct?
But all that would be is to set the hearing in conformity with the contract,
Yeah.
which you have a draft in front of you.
It won't change much, I'm sure.
Right.
Except the dollar amount, maybe. Maybe it'll stay the same.
And if you're not comfortable acting on it then you
I'm
have.
fine. I mean,
We're still on
we're
schedule
90% there or better already, so unless you gentlemen have a concern, but if we can keep it moving along that way, I would say accommodate his schedule, great. Forward.
sooner
Yeah.
the better.
The second contract's been drafted as well. We just have to get some things worked
Okay.
out before it's in final form.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think there are any big deals. It's just, if that was the way the verbiage is, making sure we understand the verbiage to that, so.
Okay.
Thank-
We'll try and make that happen. All right, then, can we move on to new business here? Nothing, no action need to be taken other than that, right? All right, let's move on to item 5A, the fiscal year 2021 budget. We'll open the public hearing regarding that at this point. If there are any comments to be made, now is your time. Seeing negative shakes of the head, so motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Hamel.
Aye.
Eggers.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Farahona.
Aye.
Brewster.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Then we are moving on to the next item, which is a resolution, approving a resolution for the 2020-21 maximum property tax dollars. And that resolution is in your packets.
Make a motion that we accept the resolution as presented.
Support.
Discussion. Roll call, please.
Brewster.
Aye.
Farahona.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Eggers.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
So then the next item then is to set the date and time of the public hearing. That would be the March 4 meeting. I'm assuming. As soon as these two are done talking.
Sorry, I don't have anything.
March
The
4th meeting.
public hearing, that'll be our next meeting then for the public hearing for this.
Yes, sir.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Sorry, Sam.
Roll call, please.
Eggers.
Aye.
Hamel.
Aye.
Brewster.
Aye.
Farahona.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
All right, moving on then to our city manager report. Anything you'd like to share? All right. Then Councilman to my left, any comments you'd like to make? Councilman to my right.
Not today.
Just invite everyone out to Drew Scrumptious on Friday and get to know our potential chief of police candidates, or our chief of police candidates, and hopefully our next chief of police will be there.
All right. Ange, is there anything you want to add? This is new.
Just that I gave you guys all a packet to replace in your budget.
So, all right.
Do we need a motion to recognize her 38th birthday, or is that?
It's Pete's birthday too.
Happy birthday to both of you.
38.
Yeah, I'm 38.
Micah, do you have anything you want to share? Being everybody sharing today.
No, thank you.
Okay. Kurt, we skipped right over you.
Happy birthday. They got cupcakes out there. Maybe wanted to display those. Birthday cupcakes.
We could cut it up into 40 pieces.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind.
Okay.
We got the Kiwanis basketball tournament this weekend in town. So there'll be 32 basketball teams in town. Big fundraiser for the Kiwanis Club. So you'll probably see a bunch of extra traffic in town, and always good economic boost for the community. So support the kids. Right, Trash? Go.
All right. And I have no comments either, so then we want to move into our next item, the item 7, closed session to consider labor negotiations. Do we need to do that?
We do not. If I could
Oh.
have just a few moments
Okay.
to explain where we're at. So the negotiations are going pretty well. We continue to move towards a final merge contract, and we hope to have the contract available for voting on the March 4 meeting. We may need an executive session at that meeting, but unless you so request, we really don't need one today.
Okay. I'm not seeing anybody jumping on that, so
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
wow.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Hamel.
Aye.
Brewster.
Aye.
Hint.
Aye.
Eggers.
Aye.
Farahona.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
35-minute council meeting, Sam. I think that's
Thank you.